Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good day. Welcome on in, free enterprise fans around the world. We are here for the Red Moon Waning match between Dragus and Rexbanner. My name is Possumorpheus, and I am joined by Chuck Holtrip today. Chuck, how you doing?
Doing great. Really looking forward to this race.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this one as well. It seems that we have some very good objectives in store for us today. Yeah, I don't know what they're referencing, but I'm sure they're great. Always love a good little troll from our restreamer Alchemy, and maybe our tracker Dubward behind the scenes might know what's going on here because I sure as heck don't.
Looks like Rexbanner's trying to say sorry for something there. I'm not sure what. Kind of fun with the name scheme there.
I know that Rex said something about words are hard and grammar is harder in the race room, and I have to imagine this is it. I also have absolutely no idea what what Rex is talking about. I don't know what he did or what I did. But we're all here today to have some fun with Free Enterprise, and that's what really matters. Speaking of having fun with Free Enterprise, Chuck, this is your first time on commentary, I believe, and that is a good time for everybody. What are you looking forward to most from seeing these objectives, from seeing what looks like a starting character of Edge, since we don't see Cecil and Fulit up on Rex's screen?
I tend to like the Cecil easier to get power overwhelming. Kind of take care of some of those rougher spots. With that lineup, I'm not sure if that'll be enough to cover it by himself.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what this Edge can do early on. We have some bosses in here that kind of catch my eye. The big one, of course, for me, the boss that is the troll of the tournament. Obviously, you know, the gauntlet is a good one, but CPU on Red Moon with no back row glitch. If that CPU is somewhere with a lot of health, that becomes a fight that is required, that is air quotes free, and also takes until tomorrow to complete. So that's one for me that I think will be very interesting to see for our runners. So we'll see where that plays out.
My history shows that the objective for their Valvalis is going to be difficult. I always seem to find Valvalis right where she spins up perfect magic defense and it's almost impossible to.
Yeah, Val, Spinny Tornado Bikini herself, definitely has drawn the ire of many a runner. Based on how the characters are curated, if you will, and the fact that you'll never see Cecil and Edge together, mages do end up being more common on this flag set than Zerkers, but we shall see what we get. I see a Rydia, a Crystal Shield, and either Ruby or Elements. Worth noting, neither Ruby nor Elements are required today, so both Dragus and Rexbanner get a useless item and a Crystal Shield which can't be used, and a boss that is not going to help.
Yeah, it could still be gating 2 more behind him. So Baron Key is still possibly useful, but again, definitely a little bit less incentivized now that we know spot required. Hopefully that shield will be at least worth some early shopping money if they need it, but not nearly as much as a key item would have.
Yeah, the Crystal Shield definitely going to be worth a little bit of money. We might be able to see it fund the purchase of like a longsword or a mute knife. We do see Ogo Pogo hanging out in Mist Cave, and Rex is opting to just kill it. Also taking the time to knock Rydia down, maybe an early commit to an anchor here, while Dragus picks up Rosa and another character named Edward. But Rosa being the big one there. Rosa, Rydia, Edge, all potentially far more useful. Eddie really doesn't do much for you outside of the spoon, although the spoon does make Eddie a heck of a DPS or glass cannon. So really impressive stuff if you can get him online early. Speaking of glass cannons, Rexbanner picks up a Slumber Sword in Mist Cave. That is 1400 early damage that he can dart at something. So that'll be a nice little pickup there.
Yeah, definitely. Also, with Edward being a glass cannon with no back row Cecil cover strats or anything like that, gonna take some work to keep him alive.
Yeah, definitely will. And on Dragus' side, we see someone who doesn't need help staying alive generally. That is the ultimate free enterprise beefcake himself, Sid. Now, Rexbanner picked up a poison axe in Antlion Cave, which would pair great with that Sid. But Sid starts with about 790 health along with this edge. They both start very high HP. And that Sid will help you bop things early on. And looks like we also have picked up a full moon on Dragus' side. That is going to be wonderful for that edge.
Yeah, and not only is it good for quote-unquote flying enemies, that includes the Arachnid too, but it helps get that back row, especially if there's a CPU or something that you can actually do some damage.
Yeah, that full moon going to really come in handy to let you back row that edge. But we see just a samurai shield, and this is interesting. Rex is resetting out, not keeping the poison axe. I might have been inclined to just walk that out, keep that poison axe, keep that samurai shield. Some decent money in there. Like even if you don't find a cane or a Sid, that stuff does sell for a pretty penny. So a little surprised seeing the reset there. I wonder if we do find a Sid on Rex's side or a cane if he goes back and picks that poison axe up. But we do see Odin, which is a required boss up on Hobbs, and Rex says, "Let me take that slumber sword I found and put it in Odin's mouth." And that is going to be the first objective on the board for Rex, while we see a Palom show up on Dragus' side. So currently we're looking at Palom, Rydia, Rosa, Edward, Sid, and our starting edge. Only one character to go.
Yep, and that's up the Ordeals trail there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we do have a great question from chat about back row glitch being off for Red Moon. So Red Moon, you have only one glitch on. That is the life glitch. If you're more familiar with Blue Moon flags, you have the warp glitch, the life glitch, the Sylph glitch, and the back row glitch. So only the life glitch is in this iteration of the flags. So we shall see how our runners treat that. But looks like we are getting a Fabul check now from Rex, having completed that Odin, while Dragus headed on into Antlion Cave, having gathered a bunch of characters, which Rex has not done yet, opting for one of the alternative strategies, one that I like to embrace myself, of going through and just having Edge blow up the overworld without much help from anyone else.
That's an Ashura here at Fabul, so that'll be nice to get that off the table in a decently good spot.
Yeah, and I have a feeling on Rex's side we're going to be getting some life-locking strats here. This is a fight that he probably wishes he had that Slumber Sword back for, because that would be 1400 damage to Asura, which after that initial swing for 400 would have one-shot. Now we have to deal with probably 5 attacks from Edge here, and just makes this Asura fight a little bit of a longer ordeal. And we do see Dragus go through no reset, excuse me, on that Antlion fight. Gonna keep his loot. I think part of that driven by the fact he has that Sid to get that Poison Axe, especially.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering as soon as Rex sees that Sid, if he even considers picking him up, or if he does pick him up, if he hasn't found a better axe by then, if he's back for it, but kind of doubt it.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, that decision point on Rex's side. But we do see him make pretty quick work, all things considered, of that Asura. And we just get an Odin summon. So we so far have had a Crystal Shield as our starting key item, a Samurai Shield from Antlion, an Odin summon from Fabul. Not only are these not key items, these are bad items. Like, these aren't even good items itself for a lot. This is just trash. And we are down to Ordeals and Baron Inn as our only key item checks unless there's a sneaky Demist. This is a potential one key item hook route that we could be staring at.
That would be fun. Well, at least we know Demist isn't at the Mist Cave. We did see Dragus check that and see that was Dr. Luge. So it's kind of narrowing down where we can find our progression.
Yeah, we're going to have very limited progression points here unless there's some sort of very large chain. Because of that, you're also going to have less XP on the overworld, which is going to incentivize our runners to do more trap chests. Whether that be in Castle Eblin or Cave Eblin, I would highly anticipate some trap chests for XP for our runners. And we see Dragus completing that Odin, and our final character is Yang. So we are presented with a very interesting team composition here. No Tella for an ultimate D-Machine grind. And then we have basically what is like Edge, Sid, Yang, which are... Edge is good, but Sid and Yang are second-tier berserkers. Eddie, who, again, doesn't do anything without a spoon. And then we have Rydia, Palom, and Rosa. Kind of a rough party comp, all things considered.
Yep, one black mage, one white mage. No, we got two black mages. Depending on how you treat Rydia there.
Well, and yeah, speaking of that D-Mist that we had referenced, oh hi. We have a D-Mist on Dragus' side, which is probably a much more pleasant fight than this Wyvern up on Rex's side. One of the kind of awkward things about finding an early Wyvern is you may not be set up agility-wise for it. Now, thankfully, Edge is so darn fast, probably rocking about 23, 24 agility here, that it's gonna be fun. Speaking of even more fun, we have now gone from a Wyvern to a back attack gauntlet. I know Alchemy loves her some zombie dance party, and we are getting a whole lot of party and a whole lot of dance.
Yep. At least you'll have some flame to take care of, usually about 4 of those encounters, but that's still going to be one a little bit longer encounter. I can't remember the exact encounters for this location, but yeah, it's supposed to be zombie, spirits, skeletons.
Yeah, the ghouls are going to be flammable, if you will. The souls or spirits, any of those fire-casting, spooky-looking guys in the front of this fight, those are all the ones that are going to be fire-resistant. But we saw a DKC over on Dragus' side. Not really that big an issue. You can just heal through it. And we see that Dragus gets an Earth Crystal. So that is going to be huge for routing this Baron in early. You're going to end up with the treasury. Now, granted, it's only a T-Pro treasury, but that treasury could still really warp the rest of this overworld. Very, very big stuff for Dragus here.
I believe the only weaponry you could find for Edge would be the ninja sword, or is that tier too high for the treasury on T-Pro?
So on T-Pro, actually, you can go all the way up to tier 8s in the treasury. It's about a 1% chance of seeing tier 8s. So they are still out there. So you can get Masamenes, you can get, Murasames, ninja swords, full moons. All of that is on the table, even Excalibur's darts. The treasury does not have a cap on it. It's just very rare that you would find those things. But Dragus does get a Luca key coming out of D-Mist. So that is a good boss check for Underground. And we have started to find some key items. So our tracker Dubward actually, able to push some buttons, which is nice. Help keep him awake instead of having an accidental afternoon siesta. But yeah, Dragus going to go through, pick up a couple of items here from Mist, and check the Mist Cave, because I think he checked Waterfall, but not Mist Cave yet, while Rex is through his third boss. That is the 5th fight of that gauntlet at back attack. So that is 3 bosses on the board for Rex. Dragus won't be too far behind, though.
Yeah, if he going to try and clear the overworld, he does have that Earth Crystal, which could lead him up Zot, so it could take him a minute, but yeah, he's definitely going to take his time and get through some of these objectives still. He might be fading Fabul, hoping to get underground, get the pan, do it all in one go. But even should he not get to that pan, I think he's still going to hit Fabul. It's a simple check, get it, you're done.
Yeah, Fabul is much more fadeable when there's no Tella in a seed. Well, I guess we have, to cut myself off there, we have a mountain of blue robes. As Water Hag also appearing, not as our 1% boss objective today, but Gauntlet and Water Hag hanging out here in Ordeals. The kind of awkward thing about this is normally you could kill Water Hag in less than 3 hits. You can't do that here. But Dragus finds some really nice shops there. That's cabins and life potions in Troya. On this flag set, you don't start with camping gear. So finding camping gear is phenomenal.
I'm kind of torn on preferring tents over cabins. Tents allow you to heal the party up without raising anybody up, so if you want to preserve your anchor, tents can be a little bit faster. Cabin's definitely good to have, just to, I need a full heal check forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Dragus charging into this treasury. Makes a whole lot of sense. I would definitely want to play chat's favorite game of Rate That Treasury as well. So let's see what Dragus finds today.
Couple of heroin robes.
That was decidedly T-Pro out of 10.
Yeah, lots of shirts out of that. Definitely, it's. I think I saw another full moon and a bandana, so that might be nice for Edge. But those full moons increase his attack animation a bit.
Yeah, the nicest part about a full moon is that you can back row. It's got really questionable accuracy, and the animation, as you alluded to, is quite lengthy. So I don't know that I'd want 2 of them on. I might consider like Assassin Dagger and Full Moon, because at least that way you're getting the agility and the vitality. It's not great. Like, you'd much rather have found even a long sword or a mute knife than a second full moon. So
it looks like he went with the 2 full moons instead of the full moon and the assassin dagger there.
Yeah, let me tell y'all
tech power.
Yeah, let me tell y'all a story about the first tournament I ever played in, where I had 3 edges in one of my races, and 6 full moons were the best weapons I found. I'm pretty sure that Zeromus fight is still going on today with all of those animations. Holy moly, never again.
So with the Assassin Dagger in the offhand, does that still allow for the swooning proc?
Absolutely, yeah. The swoon procs, should that be the thing that happens, will happen with Assassin Daggers in either hand. So it doesn't really have a hand preference there. So you can have like a Mute Knife and an Assassin Dagger, one in each hand, and not only will the enemy get swooned, they will also get silenced. It seems rather, repetitive or redundant, since if you're dead, you're silenced by default, but hey, the procs will come up for both.
Yeah, it's could at least get some elemental things if he were to run into a gauntlet, but we know that that's up on the Mount Ordeal. But he does find a Bahamut, though, in Zot 1.
Yeah, so Dragus finds Bahamut, a free boss in Zot 1. Nice part about this, that's going to be 9,000 experience coming from this fight. There's 9,000 health here, it gives 9,000 XP, and it also gives 9,000 gold. So, very nice, easy spot to remember, because it's all 9,000. Not over 9,000, but exactly 9,000. And we'll see what Dragus opts to do here. Looks like we get a Grimoire, so we have the Water Snake waving at the Elder Dragon God. I think Dragus is trying to knock out this Bahamut without having to use those precious Star Veils.
Right, we know Bahamut likes to count backwards, and once he hits that terminal mark of 0 there, he does throw a Mega Nuke there. That would be rather bad at this point.
Yeah, that Mega Nuke, while not super powerful here, definitely is powerful enough to wipe out this entire party. But Dragus does get through. wipes out that Bahamut, and we will get to see a couple of interesting things happening here. One, pig meta. Everybody loves pig meta. Two, we'll get a peek at the Dwarf 2 boss. And three, we will get an extra key item check. No characters in Zot on this flag set, but a lot of good information that we'll be able to glean from this. And Rexbanner also headed to Zot now, having picked up a Twin Harp, but saying that key item does not exist. A man after my own heart.
Yep, and that Twin Harp was up at the top of Ordeals, if I'm not mistaken. So, behind all the Gauntlet and the Wyvern Water Hag, all the blue ropes up there. And pig ears, what have we got?
We have yellow ears today. The ears in the first room don't matter. The ears in the second room are what matters. So yellow ears could be a lot of things. It could be Golbez, could be Baigan, could be Dark Knight Cecil, but he's already been found. So
could also be Mylon.
Yeah, could be Mylon. There's a lot of things it could be, and we get Dark Elf, which is actually surprisingly awkward. We don't have any Holy Elemental unless we have White Arrows. So this is a little bit spooky. We should have enough damage to get through, but going to be annoying.
Also of note, Dragus does still have that Edward up and gaining experience there, so he might be preserving Rydia for an anchor or for a future slingshot. But he's, I'm guessing, hoping to get the experience on the Edward, hoping for that spoon.
Yeah, I mean, if Dragus wants to go more Zerker heavy, it's definitely a valid option. There's a lot of flexibility with this party at the moment. So you can go Zerkers, you can go Mages. You can't really do much with the Mages until you get underground. But you can certainly go Zerkers at any time. Poison Axe Sid is fine. The Treasury Edge is fine. Eddie with a spoon would be way more than fine. So it's kind of one of those situations where you're keeping your options open if you're Dragus, and he is more than good enough a runner where he can carry that Edward, who's not doing a ton, through the overworld while he has this edge and that Sid kind of doing work. Also, nice use of the stop spell on the second form of the Dark Elf once it loses the boss bit. Cannot be swoon procced, unfortunately. It loses the boss bit, but still is resistant to fatal and instant death. But can get weaked, can get hit with Holy Elemental from weapons, but do not cast a white spell on it. The first form of Dark Elf weak to the white spell, the second form absorbs it. Features, not bugs, folks.
And you're right, it is Waterfall that has Dr. Luga, is Rexbanner over there. Doesn't look like he's ascended Zot yet, but he did preserve his save right here at Troya, so he should be able to jump right up there. Which looks like, I'm guessing that's where he's going now.
Yeah, we have Dragus completing Zot, but he doesn't have Ordeals done. Looks like Rex is potentially learning more about what characters are in the seed before carrying on. It looks like he is committing to a Rydia anchor, though. No, we are getting... Okay, this is aggressive for a couple reasons on Rex's side. But there was our hook from the Earth Crystal from the Tower of Zot for Dragus. But back to Rex here. This is a very early music check, and this is a little surprising for a couple reasons. One is this cannot gate our underground access. Because Wyvern was up on Mount Ordeals, Wyvern cannot gate your underground access. So Rex, by the logic of the game, knows this cannot be his hook. Secondly, he doesn't have Warp on Rydia or Exit from a Rosa, a Cecil, a Tella. So this is a longer check, and also one that he's, even if this has good stuff with it, he's not going to be able to quickly get out. Now, I will say that Cursed Ring alone may make this check worth it. The Cursed Ring is worth its weight in gold.
I think it's about 25,000 gold if you fight it in the shop. Yes, very much a useful item. As to where Dragus will have that exit on Rosa from completing Zod. You're right. Rexbanner is definitely going to have a long walk out if he's going to try that.
Yeah, I mean it's worth noting that. I mean, this is kind of how Rex plays. Also, he's aggressive. He's unpredictable. Um, just one of those things that you don't really know what you're going to get with him, and it makes him a very difficult opponent to play against. But speaking of things that are not difficult, listening to music is not difficult, and I'm told that this is the point of the show where we're supposed to let y'all do that. So, everybody, enjoy DJ Spoonie B and his rockin' tunes.
Okay, wow. Really like the song. Nice upbeat tune to it. Again, like I'm seeing in chat here, a lot of people are not recognizing it. It's not hitting me at all. But what do you think of that boss?
I think it was required. So between the Pan and Baigen, the Twin Heart play, really huge, and looks like Rex did have an exit in the inventory, so that may have predicated his decision to go do Twin Heart before Zod. So we'll see where Rex opts to go next. It says no to Zot for right now. Going to carry on, and looks like we are maybe going to gather some characters on Rex's side. But now has 4 bosses on this overworld complete already. We have Asura, the Gauntlet, Odin, and Baigen all down already.
Well, being a great overworld, yeah, I think again, it's time to start building that party. Seeing, okay, I'm getting ready to head underground. There's really not many places you can go. Hopefully, he kind of curious to see which way he goes with his party. If he goes more mage or if he goes more Zerk.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like chat letting us know that was a Bubble Gloop Swamp from Banjo-Kazooie.
Yep, haven't played any of this series, so I wouldn't have found that in 100 years.
Yeah, it was a good tune, very upbeat, very peppy. But yeah, not one that I'm familiar with either. Looks like Rex is going to launch the boat, pick up his character here from Damsian, build out that party and decide where he wants to go next, I believe he has to go to Zod. I think he has exhausted all other options. While Dragus, I believe, is going to have to go Twin Harp next. So I think Dragus is a little bit ahead here, by virtue of having that party filled out and being able to push a little bit more damage. But Rex, I'm sure, will be able to make quick work of this Tower of Zod.
Yeah, and if he needs any experience for that hook route, so we get a nasty boss, he still does have all those trap chests available, and should be able to make quick work of those with the edge as geared as he is, especially from that treasure.
Yeah, I would definitely expect before we dive trap chests, or at least I would hope that we would peek the shop in Cave Eblin, because that shop can have, hourglasses, coffins, Bacchus wine, sirens, all sorts of really helpful tier 5 items. Even Leviathan, if you keep Iridia online and upright, rather than using her as an anchor. And on Rex's side, having that curse ring from Cave Magnus, where, that Twin Harp check was made, that's going to give him more party flexibility than Dragus will have, effectively going to have an extra party member capable of doing things, and he can kind of toggle around as needed. So that curse ring opens up a few things for Rex that Dragus will not have access to. So while Dragus might be a little bit ahead on levels for folks, Rex is going to be ahead on flexibility. So it'll be very interesting to see where our runners opt to go and what they opt to do party-wise. I'm hoping to see some divergence, and with one runner keeping Eddie and another runner, getting rid of Eddie, it'll be very interesting to see. Dragus says, I am out of here on this overworld, though. Doesn't look like we're going to get a Twin Harp check on his side, which means, at least for now, no Pan, no Baigen.
That could come back to haunt him if that 8th boss objective is somewhere tucked away nice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I know that Flurry, who is a phenomenal runner and often talks about some of the math behind things and really has great explanations on a lot of this. Flurry often talks about the delta between boss 6 to 7 versus 7 to 8. Like in this case, Twin Harp is likely objectively faster than having to go find whatever that 8th known boss would be to us. So it'll be very interesting to see, that 3-minute Twin Harp check versus the potential of like 10 or 12 extra minutes finding that 8th boss down the road. So we'll see what our runners opt to do. We have a couple of decent shops here. Sirens for sale, Thunderclaws for sale, Ninja Shirt if we want to go that route, Dragoon Armor. And we have a lot of money, to kind of get rid of things here. But Dragus going to dive this hook route while Rex is going through and doing Zot. And we pick up a Dragoon Armor and a Lightsaber game. There is no Cecil this seed. Calm down.
That Lightsaber should at least make a start. It looks like a reprise there on the second. And a Cursed Ring. So he's not going to lose out too much on that Cave Magnus, if I'm reading that screen right.
Yeah, the Curse Ring shows up, and a longsword as well. So some pretty nice stuff showing up. And to answer some questions from chat, the runners do know all 8 bosses ahead of time. They can see them on their introduction screen. Now, they don't have Antlion on their boss screen, but they do have Antlion on their hook route. And by the way, that's not a fun boss. We might be seeing a bit of a grind here to Quake, because you probably want to dart and Quake your way through this. That Lightsaber probably about to be lodged somewhere between Antlion's googly eyes, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yep. We also see Rexbanner's finished up Zot 1. He'll be working his way up to Zot 2, and hopefully getting his hook soon, joining Dragus here. Finding that rather unkind and not in his natural environment on the moon, but Antlion down here definitely is not to be taken lightly, and as you said, the quaking and darting is going to prevent those nasty counters making quick work of the party.
Yeah, and I for one am very interested as well in what is going to show up here at the King Queen Eblin spot. Because while that antlion is rude, there's a lot of things that could be even ruder here. Vanilla King Queen Eblin, however, is very much so not one of them.
The seem to say it's like, you saw this, I'm sorry. That's kind of what this is telling me.
Yeah, this is the perfect moment, honestly, for our runners to kind of take a break and gather their thoughts and figure out, how do I want to approach this antlion? Do I want to Zerk with an edge? Do I want to grind a Quake? Let me take a look at my inventory for darts. This is actually a really nice little circumstance here that our runners find themselves in. Instead of having to go through and constantly be fighting things and going through, fight after fight, they can kind of take a break here, evaluate the situation, and figure out, how do I best want to approach antlion? And once you figure that out, say to yourself, how do I best want to approach this underground? Do I want to use some sirens right away? Do I want to go to Dwarf Castle? And you can use this time to really think about and plan out the next couple steps of your seed. So that King Queen Eblin, a really nice bit of a break there for the runners, and we'll see how Dragus opts to do this.
Yep. So he swapped off the heroine robe for a sorcerer robe to keep Rosa more on the heel side, and pull her back against the trigger. And as far as you were mentioning of the routing the underworld, how you're going to tackle that? Rexbanner has the pan already, so I'm sure he's going to include the Sylph Cave rather early in his routing, probably before he dips the Fey March, just to make sure that gets active. Where Dragus might do the Fey March first, and put off that Sylph Cave until he finds which probably not going to find anytime.
Yeah, it looks like on Dragus' side, we're anchoring with Palom, but we're not anchoring with a curse ring, I don't believe. So we have bluffed once, and this Palom going to be throwing out some pretty good quakes here. The back row edge has darted 2 lightsabers. We're now trying to figure out, how do we want to approach this. Looks like some attacks from edge are going to come out now. Sid going to illusion up, and yeah, it looks like the fight's fairly well in hand, but it is going to take a bit longer to get through. I think we're still only about halfway there. The rest of this is probably going to be quakes.
He did look at those ninja spells, debating. It's like, is this going to be enough damage to be worth the time? Again, as you mentioned, it looks like he kind of backed off and just went ahead and threw a full moon and a longsword as he.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now he's going back for the flame strats. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, any damage you can do that isn't direct, that doesn't invoke a counter from Antlion, will be decent. One of the nice things you can do here as well, like with Sid, you could go through, use this vampire, heal him up a bit, and then maybe throw out that Blizzard J item. Blizzard will kind of deal like fixed damage as far as its ratio to your HP is concerned. So it's an interesting situation, and yeah, to point out from chat as well, we have a curse ring for both runners. So Rex is not ahead a curse ring. The runners both have curse rings at this point.
Right, Rex found his in Cave Magnus, and Dragus found his in Cave Eblin.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Rex is going to loot on his way down, or if he's okay. I've got my party built. I've got my hook now from finishing up Zot. Check the shop here, see if I can find me. Again, just mention some of those J items. Hourglass Siren that wants to take those trap chests. Grab some of those Siren.
Yeah, the Siren's definitely a heads-up purchase. I am very interested to see what Rex opts to do here for this this Antlion. And the reason kind of for that is I don't think he has Quake yet. So it's going to be a little bit awkward for him Yeah, he's only at level 19, which is virus on the kid. He needs 4 more levels. There is a realistic world where Rex sees this antlion, turns around or exits out, and comes back to buy a stack of ancient swords. And I know this might sound a little bit silly, but ancient swords will dart for about 1,000 damage apiece. It'll be a fairly quick way for Rex to actually get through that antlion. Something that's not often seen, but can be done. But meanwhile, Dragus is through that antlion fight, largely on the back of darting from Edge and quaking from Balam. The power of bluff.
There. It looks like Rex is running to that old standby, the inventory boss there. Did see that Rex did pick up some samurai arrows as well. Noticing we only still have a short bow for Rosa. Hoping probably to find a better piece of equipment to go with that heroine robe. Maybe have her put out some DPS as well. When he sees the antlion, he's probably going to be a little bit off-put by that decision at this point, but it still might be good for things down in the unit.
Yeah, and we'll see where Dragus opts to go next, and see what Rex opts to do for this antlion fight. But Dragus going to give us a Falcon percent time of basically right around 38 minutes, which for having done Zot is not too bad at all, especially with an antlion there. So we'll see. Rex having done that harp. See if he's able to carry that objective advantage, whereas Dragus has that time advantage. So be very interested to see again where kind of those 7th and 8th bosses end up as we get a dive into the Fey March right away from Dragus, as you kind of speculated would happen.
Interesting to see who we have down here. See if they have any other free objectives. See if we can get maybe some more experience. Again, not having those 10 key items means the grind is going to be a little probably delayed as well. So if you find some rude bosses here, you might just again turn around and use exit right out. But we do see an Artemis bow in the Fey March freebie.
Yeah, that is a better bow. You had referenced finding a better bow for Rosa. That would definitely qualify as a better bow. But we also, I'm personally hoping down here in the Fey March that we stumble across exactly CPU at Leviathan, because that is a really, really mean fight that our runners would not be very happy to see.
That would be true. Again, as you said, it would be free. It's just going to be a very long. I don't think Rosa's quite up to Cure 3 yet on Dragus' side, which would help with tackling all the little mazes that the attacker would send out. Looks like we see a Mylon and another Ruby.
Yeah, so that Ruby or Elements fight, that is basically a non-starter right now. You're just not doing that. If you had Fire 3, maybe. If you had a Cecil for cover strats with some undead protection, and you could reflect even Fire 2s, it could work. Either Mylon, kinda rough. Mylon Z would be doable if you could blink up a Zerked Edge. You'd be able to hit him with the flying weakness. But I believe we picked up a Mute Knife there, just kind of hanging out in the Fey March. That is a big pickup for Dragus.
Yes, that Mute Knife is going to do wonders against that Magus fight. Would have done well against Sura as well with that Mage weakness. Definitely something to go in that offhand. It still is only rocking a longsword, so any kind of opportunity to pursue that Mage weakness would be a very good use. I think Pelham can also use that as a stat stick if needed. I'm not sure what kind of rods we've picked up so far.
I think we found a Lilith rod. I think both runners have a Lilith rod, so much more likely to see that stay on Pelham and see the Mute Knife stay on Edge. But we do see Dragus setting up Sheila 1, so this is a place where Rex will pick up a little bit of time on Dragus, because he will have that pan to basically single dip the Sylph Cave. But now this is a pretty aggressive play coming out of Dragus as well. Sealed Cave here, the Luca key. Ooh, this is like 18 to 20,000 health here. The magic is through the roof. So if you were to find, let's say, the Magus Sisters down here, this is really spooky even with that Mute Knife if Edge gets hit. If CPU is here, it's a very long fight. If Golbez is here, it's free, because he just absolutely annihilates himself here. But this is a bit of a rough potential fight here. I appreciate the ambition from Dragus, but there's a lot of really spooky fights down here at these levels. Dwarf to get that extra 40,000 XP first probably would have been on most runners' menu. Maybe Dragus feels like I haven't found a lot of great equipment, I need to make a splashy check. But it's definitely a more aggressive route. So we're kind of seeing that from both runners, honestly. A lot of aggression coming out, not a lot of conservative playstyle.
And here's where I'm kind of wondering if Rexbanner's kind of getting into Dragus' mind a little bit here. He knows Rex is kind of doing some of those plays, and he's kind of last location that Zot for the hook. So I'm wondering if he's feeling behind and needs to take those kind of off-the-wall checks to counter some of what Rex is doing.
Yeah, could absolutely be kind of counterplaying. But we'll see. Big moment here coming up on this Luca check. What is going to show up as a key item? Oh boy. That is a horrible key item to find. Because now, even if this is a not required boss, you have to walk that package out because it is a boss check. That is just like the worst possible thing you could find. Well, okay, so here's the thing.
Second worst thing.
The package is no longer the worst thing you could find. Magus Sisters are required.
Spells are gonna hurt.
Bison! Yeah, I believe that was with Dragoon resistance, and I don't see a Mute Knife on that edge. We might need to take a reset here to set up. This fight is awful. It's great that it's an objective and you know it's here, but this fight is objectively awful. Yeah, by edge. This probably needs to be a reset from Dragus, and kind of live to fight another day. Get yourself set up for this. It's doable. You just got to be set up correctly for it.
Yeah, you got to look at possibly getting some elemental resistances, which I think the Sorcerer Robe gives elemental resist, if I remember right.
Sorcerer Robe gives undead resist, I believe. Undead. I don't think it gives elemental protection. Yeah,
there's tons of gear. I'm still trying to memorize which all gear has what, but he got rid of that Mindy up there, so those tier 2s aren't going to be coming out anymore, so he might still be able to salvage this and get Cindy down before that cover.
Yeah, absolutely. We do get the Mute Knife swap happening here, and we're going to see if we can get through this. This would be a heck of a recovery by Dragus if he can get through this, and not have to take a reset. This Quake, if it fires, I think wipes out both of these sisters now.
We definitely see the power of that Mute Knife going from a 400 or 500 hit to like a 2,400 hit. And that Quake does take them both out. Lovely.
That's a heck of a recovery from Dragus there, because that's an awful fight. But he did well to get through it. So that aggression does pay off. Very nicely done. It's a required fight, but that doesn't mean it's a fun or a free one. So again, very well done by Dragus. Rexbanner, meanwhile, is underground and is going right for those pan checks. As you kind of talked about, that would be a likely progression point for him. So a couple minutes behind for Rex, but that Twin Harp and that pan going to loom very large. As is honestly this Luca check for Dragus. Rex is not very heavily incentivized to do that Luca check right away.
I think, again, the Falcon for Rex there was about 44 and a half minutes there, so about 5 or 6 minutes behind at least as far as that goes. But being able to one-shot this Sylph Cave, and depending on where he goes, that objective of Cave Magnus there.
Yeah,
Not
so
I'm not sure how that's going to play out with that Luca cave.
Yeah, so this is interesting. The pan gates the spoon, which means Dragus holding on to this Edward. He is locked out of Spoonward until he does the Twin Harp, which he has not shown any incentive to do the Twin Harp at this time. So a super weird kind of edge case situation that has developed here, that you cannot get Spoonward online until you do the harp, and Dragus is just very unlikely to do that, which is super awkward. Do we get the Job Dwarf? Do we get the Troll? Show us Dragus. A soil construction, soil conservation technician.
Anyone that works the farmlands, familiar with that kind of job there. Good to see that he at least gives the crowd a little bit of a nod there, giving us that job. We do see Rex also picked up that mutant, so that'll be nice if he does do.
Yeah, that mute knife going to be great. As we know, will come in handy for those Magus sisters. We do see. Okay, this is a great shop. We have the money for it. Did we pass over buying the ninja swords? That would be very intriguing for me. I would want 2 ninja swords if I were in Dragus' shoes, because ninja swords are really, really good. Big time damage boost from long swords, from full moons, and gives, I believe, +3 strength as well.
If anything else, it'll help shorten up some of those timers on those full moons being thrown out. Full moon's still useful again if we do see that CPU, that back row damage. But yeah, I would definitely also agree with the ninja swords. Like, okay, I need some damage. Let's get something in those hands other than these full moons.
Yeah, basically, Palom through the power of Quake, definitely going to be helping out. But even single ninja to pair with that full moon would be a phenomenal pickup to kind of level out that damage. But we see Dragus heading into Dwarf Castle, going to be our first runner to give us a peek here. And we get a pair of guards. I believe that we picked up 4 coffins on Dragus' side. I expect to see 2 of them fly out here.
Yep, maybe doing some life glitches as well. So it does have looks like 6 total coffins. Up 2 down the road.
Yeah, I wonder if for inventory. Yeah, and I wonder if for inventory purposes he uses a 2-stack, and he does, which is a nice little bit of heads-up play there. Rex also seeing the fights in the Fey March and saying thanks, but no thanks, I am out. And we're going to get some convergence on Dwarf Castle here. So Rexbanner up that Twin Harp check, up the Pan Bonk, but down the Sealed Cave check for the Magus sisters. Rex having knowledge of the boss from Zot 2, knowing that it's a sparkle, which we don't have any sparkles on our list, Rex says, I'm out of here, I don't want to do Dwarf. So this is one of those boss hunt only type of metas that we see. Rex is saying, I am betting that Dwarf does not have darkness. And in Rex's shoes, he already has Luca Key, he already has the Pan to turn in. It makes a lot of sense. It's a very sensible fate. So we'll see if it pays off, because this Dwarf Key item now becomes a very huge inflection point on the seed.
Yep, and that Pan turn in is something that Dragus doesn't have, so he's more incentivized to look for those other gating items through this Dwarf.
Quick as he was here, Plague is gone.
Much fast as Plague likes to be, giving you the fast. That was definitely a quick fight. And Darkness, and 2.
The hardest required Twin Harp of the tournament, quite possibly. You want your Spoonward, you need the Pan. You want your Darkness Crystal, you need the Twin Harp. Basically everything is through the Twin Harp on the seed. Harumph is harumphing somewhere incredibly loudly, but it is not here today. Rex getting paid off for that Twin Harp check. And a legend sword for Dragus is another key item, which is cool, but that is not the progression point he needs. So Dragus now knows we're looking at top of tower, we're looking at Twin Harp, and we're looking at the Fey March. And Dragus may be incentivized to fade that Twin Harp for a very long time.
It's like Rex is baiting that sealed cave. He's looking at his party, he's hovering over it, and says no. Looks like he's going to scramble some eggs for him.
Yeah, scrambling some eggs here may want like level 3 elemental spells. If that's a ruby or an elements, and I was honestly not watching if you peeked it or not, but if he knows what's at the Leviathan spot, if he wants to maybe attempt to get up to those level 3 spells, then this would be the time to do it, a little pre-10 key item grind, and maybe take on the sealed cave, maybe take on lunar bosses. Tough to say what Rex will do. He loves his moon dives, and is very willing to do them, before you get to 10 key items.
It looks like he's also willing to Rexbanner here, throwing that light sword just to get the first egg down and hopefully get these future eggs a little bit easier to go through. Deciding he doesn't need it for any of the rude bosses already seeing it.
Yeah, he has a decent setup for most of the bosses. You might want to think about holding on to darts for exactly CPU, but or Val even. Both of those darts are kind of handy. We see Palom coming up a little bit shy here on one-shotting. And yeah, it looks like, actually, I didn't realize this, Dragus did fade Fabul. So we'll get his complementary samurai shield, I believe it was, or Odin summon, one of those useless items. But we'll also get a Sura on the board. One shot from Edge with that Mute Knife, 3800. Bye-bye. And chat pointing out, Dragus is in the neighborhood of the Twin Harp, so this would be the next best opportunity. And looks like Rexbanner accidentally cast a Fire 1 there on the egg. That was not intended. And
so we get to see what the eggs hatch into and what they kind of do when they're upset.
Yeah, they cast Thunder.
Yeah, after getting that turn in, Dragus is check that Sheila 1, gonna see that light sword. It's like, dang, what did I miss? And so I see where he goes next. Maybe see if he does the package as well as that Twin Harps. Again, both are in the neighborhood.
Yeah, both of those overworld checks are in the neighborhood. He might be more incentivized to do Keyless Tower or Fey March, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see the routing on Dragus' side. Having faded Harp for this long, I do worry that he's just going to keep fading it. As a known Harp fader myself, I definitely understand the situation he's been put into. We see a save outside Fabul. This tells me we're getting a save scum check somewhere, which would put Harp back on the menu. And yeah, that's where Dragus is going. So if this check was a zonk, he would just reset back in front of Fabul. But we know that this is the play that needs to be made here.
Yeah. Again, hope for the best, plan for the worst. So that save scum's not going to get scum back. I think he's going to really be happy to find this here. You got to find that pan and possibly go back down to Sylph. Again, try to chase that key item now that he's found it.
Yeah, and worth noting, we have Dragus making the correct play for this seed on his side, and we have Rex making the correct play for this seed on his side. So both runners doing the correct things. Rex decided to do a little pre-grinding, pre-10 key item grinding to get set up for Luca levels, which makes sense. We kind of alluded that it was an aggressive, risky play from Dragus. Rex taking a more measured approach to it, wanting a few more levels before coming down here, and it's going to pay off for him. He's going to be a little safer fighting these Magus Sisters. They'll still probably one-shot people with the spells, but you'll be able to recover a lot easier. Plus, he is perfectly anchored with that Rydia in the middle, where I think Dragus, I don't know that the curse ring was on in that fight, So I think he was working with like 8 or 10 agility as opposed to, 1 or, 1 agility like Rex will have. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Rex can get through this fight one shot, much like Dragus did. But we get a second rendition of, was it Bubble Bloop Swamp, I believe, from Banjo-Kazooie? So enjoy, y'all. And that is Baigen down for Dragus picking up his pan. Rex taking out the Magus sisters, nearly simultaneously killing for our runners, both getting their 5th objective on the board. So we have boss parity, we have an exit out of Cave Magnus, we have Rex walking out of what is now Value Cave for this seed, in the sealed cave, but we'll see if we get some warp cast coming out here as well from Rex, and looks like we are. So we're very close for our runners. The big points here: Rex playing the seed a little bit more risky, I would say, but getting paid off for it. That Fate of Dwarf Castle, which I cannot see a world in which Rex is going to go back to Dwarf Castle now. Has given him the edge in this seed. It's not a huge edge, but it is an edge that he has now up a little bit of a grind. He's down a legend sword, but we're only at 8 key items even with that legend sword.
Yeah, as well as he's also up the Sylph Cave, which Dragus is doing now with that hand. As we mentioned, Dragus was able to get to that Baigen just a little bit quicker. Again, having gone through a little bit more of again, just doing it later, as to where Rexbanner did that, it was a little bit more risky. And again, Rexbanner doing those Magus sisters in a little bit more conservative manner, and Dragus doing it was a little bit more risky. Again, both of them in those risky plays and paying off for both of them. I think you're right. I think it's just that one Fate of Dwarf Castle by Rexbanner that's the only difference runners.
Yeah, it looks like Dragus on 8 key items right now has that Edward, has that Spoon. We are getting some Spoonward action on Dragus' side. I wonder if we're going to get the same over on Rex's side. He went back into Eblin to do a little more shopping there. Do we get a set of characters swapped out here? No, Rex is heading straight back down. Looks like he is comfortable with his party, and we are going to get a big old grind here, I think, from Rex. He is He's on all of 8 key items right now, and I think realizes this might just be the time to do 30 Sirens in a Dream, or in this case, 26.
Yeah, I think he's already done. I think it was like 4 or 5. I know he bought 10 from the Edwin Cave on his way down. Again, buying 20 more. So yeah, exactly, 30 in a Dream. Yeah, this goes. But his virus is taking that out. While these guys are dueling, what do you want to take a chance to shout out these? Doing a great job putting on a good show for us. So by all means, give Dragus and Rexbanner here a follow. We've also got Alchemy on the back again here, our respawn. And then we've also got Dubword pushing the buttons for us. Again, awesome co-commentator here, possible Morpheus. I think he runs a few of these seeds. I think we're going to see him in a race or two coming up soon. Make sure to give all these guys a follow.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Chuck. And also make sure to give Chuck a follow as well. Has been running some Blue Moon seeds as of late, getting into free enterprise himself. So make sure to go ahead and give him your love as well. An up and coming runner and doing a phenomenal job for your first time on comms. So honored and delighted to be doing this with you.
So we also mentioned that Rexbanner did not pick up the Eddie. I wonder if he's keeping that spoon for a quad 9 for Irma.
I think that given the bosses that are left,
or you is where you're going with that.
Yeah, so for either Val or CPU, the spoon is honestly great. You're in a situation where so Martin Broadcloak has famously coined it the face check dart, where this is 10,000 free damage to throw at anything you want, and if you have to reset out, you get it back and you do it again, kind of a rinse and repeat. Now it's less of a face check dart on boss hunts because, well, you're gonna probably lodge it at something that's required and nothing else. But it is still 10,000 free damage to 2 bosses in particular, in Val and CPU, that are just awful. For most parties on this flag set. So as much as I love Spoonward, and he is a phenomenal source of damage, I also like the Black Mage, White Mage dart setup for Zeromus, and just having access to that spoon dart as a whole. I think it's a very calculated decision by Rex. I guarantee you if he were doing practice on his own stream, he would have taken that Edward and leveled him up. But tournament race time is a little bit different than goofing off on your own stream.
I can definitely agree with that. And probably hanging on to Yang there as a chemist during, if I possibly throw out Cure 3s or holding onto that Star Veil so they have something to reflect off of. Well, let the rest of the party do the work there. Expecting Rydia to go down to the first big bang, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see a contrast in styles here as far as the approach to this exact seed. With Rex resetting out of Dwarf, he knows he would have to hit like exactly Rat Tail or Tower Key and hit another key item. What Rex is saying basically by doing this grind right now is, I am not doing Keyless Tower, I am not doing the Fey March, and I am not doing Dwarf. Rex is saying unequivocally that he is believing that Baron and Tower do not gate his only remaining bosses. The reason he's setting up to do this right now is to take on exactly 3 more fights in this game. Some combination 2 of 3 of Val, Golbez, and CPU, and then Zeromus. Dragus is set up, meanwhile, where he is going to potentially be looking for a 10th key item on the moon, or to get a 10th key item from his crystal for killing 2 more bosses and then grind. So the 8 key item grind is going to take Rex a while. It will set him up better for the bosses immediately, but Dragus has a better long-term outlook if he can shorten that grind in half by maybe finding like a Golbez at a high magic spot You don't want to see any of these bosses in Value Cave for what it's worth. And Dragus is going to peek and sees an evil wall. Technically doable with hide strats from Eddie, but heck no, get me out. That's a gross fight.
That is a very... If I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. Or if I don't have to do it, I'm not doing it. So, the only way I could see some of these bosses getting hit down later is if we do find that the Baron Key or the Tower Key gate, again, two of those bosses. So, if, two of them are hiding behind that Ruby or Elements Baron Castle, or one of them's back there and one of them's back behind the Tower Key, or possibly one behind the package, because it looks like both of them have kind of said, okay, the package is a long check, I'm not going to worry about it unless I...
Yeah, the package is another one, kind of like Twin Harp, where it's a very long check. Twin Harp at least gives a key item, package doesn't. It's a singular boss check for 2+ minutes. It's a tough one. It's a very tough sell. Now, on Dragus' side, we also have another thing to consider. I admittedly have not done a particularly great job of tracking freebies, but I'm pretty sure we've seen Water Hag, both guards, King Queen Eblin, already. I don't think we've seen Dark Imps. I don't think we've seen Calbrena. But there's not a ton of freebies left that I can think of. And Bahamut also down, thank you to our tracker Dubward. So the proposition of finding a free boss on the moon to get a 10th key item, to get some cheeky XP, I don't think it's as high as most seeds might indicate. That Leviathan is fairly free, but not required, so Dragus says, get me out. And yeah, our tracker confirming Kaipo guards were Antlion, Bahamut was Zot 1, the 2 guards were in Dwarf, King Queen Eblin was Vanilla, and then Water Hag was Ordeals 3, I think, behind the gauntlet that was there. So that's a lot of freebies that are gone already.
So yeah, this might be where, again, if he's checked through all of these and doesn't find anything, he might chuck that spoon to help speed things up, or might hold on to it against some of those other rude fights.
Yeah.
But knowing that, again, CPU is not up here, it could be on the Giant still. We haven't taken a look at either of those bosses yet. We don't have any source of weak, so we're not going to do a D-Machine grind. So, again, one less reason to go to the Giant.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a source of weak. Theoretically, it's level 48 Palom, but by the time Palom's level 48, you're probably not D-Machining. So, but I would love to see it. I would see
that was if you're looking to swap your party out. So if you don't think Spoon Edward's going to handle the Z fight, and you want to swap it out for Iridia, I don't see either of these runners swapping the party. So.
Yeah, and we must be getting very close on Rex's side level-wise. Let me take a peek here. Yeah, we're at level 51. We did a Siren, didn't get a level, so this is going to be Rex's last Siren.
And that should be Nuke on the Kid.
Yep, we'll get Nuke on the Kid from this. Already has White on Rosa, nearly 2,700 HP on Edge, and a fully kitted out Yang. And by kitted out, I mean just a ton of levels. So he's up a full grind, but down a couple of boss checks and a whale launch and a lunar subterranean walk. So going to be very interesting to see the end of this one, especially if the bosses are on the moon. But the bosses so far are not appearing on the moon. There still is a chance that this moon has exactly buckets. It would be rare, but possible.
We see Rex organizing spells, organizing his party. Hoping that's the last time he has to do that. There's some D-Lunars for Dragus. That's going to be... Are these vanilla?
These are vanilla, and this is gross. This is not a fun fight. I don't know. I just don't know.
Price is reset out of it.
Yeah, I would be inclined to do a lot of other things other than this. It's, again, technically a free fight. But even once you get them taken care of, like, I might want this for 200,000 XP. Maybe peek and see if there's something a little freer and or required. Might just be thinking I'm likely to get 10 key items off of this. And once I do, I can then go grind and then blow up the rest of the moon. So there's a lot that's going on here that's in play for our runners. Now, one thing I want to point out, and I don't know if it's going to happen here, Rex is very well known that if he does not have a pass when he goes to the moon, he will go giant first. I'm very interested to see if he sticks to that personal play or if he opts to do something else. A save here means we're going package, I think, though. Yeah, this is a save scum package check, yeah.
And we did get the reflex strikes. We got the D-Lunars frogging themselves. We're getting that breath attack going on. We did lose Palom down the way. Palom got the full brunt of that breath as well, but one heal from Rosa took care of that.
Yeah, we see the Bacchus coming out and gonna get some big old chunky damage here on these lunar frogs now. While Rex is giving us what is likely the spiciest check in the game, and that is the package check. If this pays out, I think Dragus is in a bad way unless exactly 2 of our remaining 3 bosses are at the Crystal Sword altar and the Masamune altar. If this doesn't pay out, then I think Dragus is going to be back level with Rex. I think this is exactly what Dragus needs. In addition to also needing a key item to come from this, that can't be understated, that if this comes up with 2 zonks and no key items, Dragus doesn't get the XP or the 10th key item for his grind, or for even just future moon fights. So there's still some things in play here. I think it's statistically likely he hits a key item here, given how much we have left. But on Dragus' side, if this package pays out for Rex, this is not good. On Rex's side, conversely, if the package does pay out, he is firmly in the lead at that point.
This is also going to be kind of where, whenever I participate in any kind of tournament, any kind of competition or things like that, it's like, okay, what is my opponent doing? And Dragus, knowing that Rexbanner likes that giant play, before heading down the moon, only seeing Octomammoth. I'm wondering if Dragus would, if he's gone to do the giant there, I've got to hope nothing's there and that my play pays out here or to obtain or to get it.
Yeah, and so Rex did the package, is going giant next. Dragus, I believe, did pick up the Adamant Rock, which is his 10th key item, opting not to go through and grind yet, though, is opting to go and check the rest of the bosses up here. It looks like it was a Crystal Sword and an Adamant Rock, so LOL, thanks, game. But Rex going giant, and this is kind of Rex's thing. This is what he does. And there is the ha himself hanging out at the Ogopogo spot. So this is an air quotes free fight, because Golbez will take care of himself here. However, we're going to be playing the 50-50 game right now because we did not come into this prepared for Golbez. Nobody has a crystal ring. I don't think we have a ribbon. So we're going to have to win a 50-50, get a veil up. If we don't win a 50-50, you are going to see some really big numbers from Golbez. We're talking like 4,000 damage viruses and 7,000 to 9,000 damage lit 3s. Rex is going to give us a peek at the element spot, and that is 65,000 HP of a required Valvalis. Good news, required. Other good news, can be nuked here. Bad news, still 65,000 HP.
I'm guessing he's still happy to see this, that his play is paying out, going the giant before the moon. So if he does do this, even if there's nothing at CPU and he goes, again, like bottom down maybe, hits the white spear and the ribbon room, and then decides to go down to Massa, he's going to be in Gomo right there. So we can just take a few steps and he's right in the Zemus.
Yeah, absolutely. The swag walk is on the table for Rex, and this is part of why he routes this the way he does. That Rex is very well known, again, for making this exact play, that he loves to do the giant if he doesn't have a pass and needs more than one boss. It's a thing that he does. He loves to do it, and it's going to work out, at least potentially in this case. Now, if CPU is at the Crystal Sword altar, I dare say that CPU there and Golbez at the Masa spot are quicker together than the Val here into the Golbez fight. Because this is just, it's a long check to get here, and it's a long check to complete, because it's still a buttload of HP, for lack of a better term, 65,000. If CPU is vanilla, this race is done. So we'll see. Dragus is set up for Golbez now. He has the people alive that he wants. We don't have status effects on anybody, though, so this is a bit awkward.
And I don't think we saw any crystal rings or ribbons either, so I don't think he has any of the gear that hold yet.
First ring going on Palom. We still need a status effect. Or for Eddie.
50-50.
Yeah, I don't know that this setup is going to work out the way that Dragus is hoping for, unless we have a heroin robe on. If we have a heroin robe on, then he's fine, because that will prevent the paralysis. So, we'll see. I was not admittedly paying close enough attention to the exact gear loadout for Dragus, but heroin robe, much like Crystal Ring, will block it. And he's got to have a heroin robe on. So we're good here. So that's good heads-up play by Dragus, knowing the equipment and what it'll do for you.
And so while he's doing the reprise on Golbez there, Rexbanner's got, again, this battle fight well in hand and chipping away. It's going to take him, again, a good couple minutes, and I think you're right. I think if CPU is sitting at that Crystal Sword altar, I think Dragus still has, again, the time advantage.
Yeah, but we do see Val is down 65,000 HP of spinning Tornado Bikini Lady, that's all she wrote. So Rex going to be our first runner at 6 objectives, but Dragus not going to be far behind at all. Whoever can find that CPU faster is in a good place here, as Golbez lights himself up for 7,600 damage. Dragus also deciding, let me just Zerk up Rosa here. She'll be too angry to die. She'll be too angry to have that wall fall off at RA1. That's an explanation for another day. But basically, this wall is going to be infinite, and Golbez will eventually die to these arrows.
So I missed it. This is still something I'm learning, is practicing my Blue Moon Seeds. How did he get the Berserker through the wall?
Bacchus Wine.
Bacchus Wine is not a spell.
Bacchus Wine penetrates walls, but something like an illusion does not, because, it's a perfectly coded game. But that is boss 6 for Dragus. Golbez is down, gets a Siren. That is, that's part of the comedy act, I guess. And big moment here for Rex. Dark Imps. So Rex says, no, I'm good. Reset out, which means CPU is either behind Baron, at the Super Cannon room, or at the Crystal Sword altar. If it's at the Crystal Sword altar, Rex is in a world of hurt, I think, because I don't know that he's going to check that for quite a while. I think a lot of the other boss spots on the moon are going to be checked first.
Right, yeah, I think he's going to roll through, probably hit the top. You can see the Leviathan up there. Go down to the Ribbon Room, the White Spear altar, again, bounce off those lunars. I don't need those. And only then does he either go up to the Crystal Sword or the Pogo Sword.
This is interesting from Dragus. We are taking the Mylon and Friends fight. So Dragus may be believing now that he needs to find a Baron key or a tower key and going for the path of least resistance. I get it to a point, but I would really want to check that Crystal Sword altar first.
I agree. Again, this fight's not too bad. Again, the vampires I don't think are going to hit too hard for what he's able to handle here. And those blinks up, I'm not sure if he's planning to take Mylon down to see if the gas start whack. I think the gas only use the vampires.
Yeah, so the gas will only use that small drain spell when Mylon tells them to. They won't punch otherwise. And then, Mylon will eventually be left alone and say something to the effect of, or like, hey, go my children or whatever, and then realize there's no children that go, and then keep doing lit ones and eventually punch you in the face. The punches actually hurt quite a bit, but not something we're going to have to worry about here. We have Edge zerked up, we have Eddie zerked up. This fight's not going to be too troublesome for Dragus. Man, it would be burning at the back of my mind, though, like what's at that Crystal Sword altar. It'd be really want to save scum that in this case. Basically save right here on Lunar Subterranean floor 7 and just walk over to Crystal Sword. If it's nothing, just reset back and take these fights. It's just, it would really eat at me not knowing where Val or CP you are and taking a non-required fight. So I'm hoping that doesn't come back to bite.
In suspense.
Maybe doing exactly that. It's very interesting. If this, of course, has the, let's say, the tower key or the Baron key, I think he chases right away. But I think that would also then have to lead to the pass for him to be in a good place. I think Rex is back in the lead now, and this has been very back and forth.
Oh yeah, definitely no clear-cut winner, like the race to win or anything like that. It's they're both making risky plays, and it's paying off for both of them. It's hoping something's at that Crystal Sword or something, because Rex is on his way down. He's already checked that top spot there, saw that Leviathan. He's on his way down. Yeah, density down at the bottom of the Lunar Subterranean.
Yeah, and Dragus does pick up a Sand Ruby here. That is, well, the saddest of rubies on this flag set. So we'll see if Dragus continues on taking these bosses. Has already knocked down everything at the bottom of the moon here. So is likely going to be off to the Crystal Sword altar now, having taken out the Golbez, the D-Lunars, and now that Mylon and Friends fight. So maybe just didn't want to leave that one fight behind before heading over to the Crystal Sword altar. And now if Rex goes immediately to the Crystal Sword altar, that's actually a good thing, I think, for Dragus, even if it is CPU. If Rex goes to the bottom and just kind of resets out of the White Spear spot, resets out of the D-Lunar spot, the Vanilla Ribbon Room, and gets right to Golbez, which it looks like he's doing, I think this is trouble in paradise for Dragus here.
Dragus taking on these King Ryus, hoping to get some experience, get some of that grind done that Rex has already done as well. Rexbanner's already did those 30 eggs. Ready to go. Yes, Dragus does have those 10 items, so his grind's not going to be as long, but it still takes.
Yeah, Dragus will have a much shorter grind, but yeah, that giant play really, really paying out big for Rex.
Looks like Rex is again bounced off that Mylon and Friends, bounced off those D-Lunars. Okay, what else we got out here? Does he go up or does he go down? Okay, he's going all the way down.
And the interesting thing here for Rex is he has a Palom in slot 2. What this means, having that Palom in slot 2 and having Rydia as his anchor, basically being perfectly anchored, he's going to be able to get a Venom cast off if he wants to. So if he can get into his menu quick enough and get that Venom cast off, this fight is free. So he's in his
he did
menu.
a run buffer even.
And he's looking for Venom. There it is.
Yep, in his slot there.
And he gets the Venom cast off. So what's happening here is Rex is casting Venom on his party. That puts the poison status on his party. Poison has a higher status priority than Hold, which means that Rex is able to get through this fight now. Whoever is left alive, we get to put up Veils on, and Golbez takes care of himself. So really well executed by Rex here, having the proper setup on his party to get this all squared away. Dragus basically needs CPU to be exactly at the Crystal Sword altar, and probably also needs a wipe from Rex on the Z fight. The door is closing, and there's a very specific set of circumstances that are available for him to get back in this. I'm hoping we get to see it. The odds are not in his favor at this point, but I'm still holding out hope.
As we get a mention for Funnel Cakes there as well, we get the poison walk down to Z. So some people like the sound effects the game has. Sped up there with the sprinting animation we have here. This little serenade as we go down to Z from Rexbanner. And we get Mom Bomb at the Crystal. So yeah, Dragus is not in a good spot there. I think this is where we go. Advantage Rexbanner.
Yeah, there's one interesting thing worth noting here. Well, two actually. Rex tried to Bacchus his edge, which when you're poisoned will not work. Secondly, we have no Star Veils left on Rex's side. This is his last Star Veil. We say, so this is also interesting. We're throwing the spoon at Golbez instead of saving the spoon for Reflect Strats for Zeromus. This is a bit curious because that makes the Z fight a bit spooky.
I wonder if he's going to be going hybrid strats. It looks like he'll set up for Reflect and Throw damage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, but I think we're out of darts now. I wonder if we don't even swag walk here on Rex's side, if we go back and save because of how that fight transpired. No Veils, and now no Spoon. We're setting Edge up in slot 2 as if we had Star Veils.
Does he have another stack of them? Did you find them at a shop?
Maybe. I don't know, to be honest. We're getting Poison Walk, which is super cool. On our way down to Zeromus, the big bad boss. No save. This is a dangerous fight for Rex all of a sudden, and I don't know I don't know the approach here. We might get Reflect, we might get Zerk. What I'm hoping is we don't have to see a second Golbez fight, but we do see Dragus making the giant play, and we know he's going to find his last boss here. But Chuck, we got some Z flags in chat, and it's your first time on commentary, so we can't move Zeromus around. Too big, too bad. Don't want to get big banged in Antlion Cave. My friend, you got a question that you got to ask for all of us and for Scala Kitty's wonderful art to answer. What's that question, bud?
So, with all the different cosplay that Zemus likes to do here, whose butt are we going to be kicking tonight? And there's a whole host of other questions. Does it have a instrument? Is it cute? And things along the lines as well. How many sprites do we have? Somewhere in the 500 to 600 range?
Over 9,000, and we're all fabulous. Yeah, it's like 570, I think. Something like that.
Crystal comes out. He hasn't set up the Star Veils that I didn't. He may be out. We've got
Emperor.
I'm not sure I catch the reference here, but it's still very well done. It looks intimidating enough to be a final boss.
And
it does have a hat.
So we have our first bit of intrigue here in this fight already. Rex went for an immediate nerf. However, the nuke was too quick because we were queuing Bacchuses. The wall goes up on Edge. We're going to throw a Lip Bolt with Rydia, which is the most adorable Lip Bolt you're ever going to see for 19 damage. The nuke does find its way to that walled up edge, which is fantastic. So we are going to get full hybrid strats here. Zerk Edge, Zerk Yang. Palam's going to be throwing nukes. Rosa probably going to be throwing whites, and Rydia going to be throwing a tantrum on the floor, taking a nap. Yeah, this should be a doable fight. Rosa at 2,400 health. Even if things go horribly wrong, Yang with 4,600 health is a heck of a safety valve. If a black hole comes out, you get a rough Big Bang into to black hole. You can throw an elixir up on Yang to buy yourself some time to stabilize, then kind of res Rosa, do some cure 4s, etc. I think Rex is firmly in the driver's seat here. Adapted well to the no Star Veils. There's always a risk that he microwaves his own Palam here, but as long as that wall holds from Rosa, we're good. So, or microwaves his own edge, excuse me. But we're pushing out a lot of damage.
And I don't think we saw any cat claws, so it's not a chance you can just zerk up. Again, use that elixir on Young as things go south. You can't just elixir and then reblock. I don't think he's going to be able to put out quite enough damage to just YOLO it if we do get a big thing into a black hole and need recovery.
No, this is a Yang with no strength here. So I think
Edge is karate.
Okay, yeah, okay, +3 strength here. Functionally no strength here. It's one of those situations where we're doing 4K around with Zerkers, which is not enough to really do much. Palom has done more damage by himself than the other 3 party members combined here. But yeah, it's one of those situations where I think Rex probably has this north of 95% of the time. But he's going to play it safe, using a Cure 3 even on that edge. What this is going to allow him to do is make sure that edge survives and unnerf Big Bang. I'm not seeing a nerf come out yet. Okay, there we go. A nerf comes out. Direct cast nuke is going to make sure that we don't take a full Big Bang here. Dragus going to pick up his crystal, but is the lunar subterranean walk plus the Z fight behind at this point. I just don't know that there's enough. I don't know that there's enough time for Dragus to get back in this, even with a wipe at this point for Rex.
Yeah, we would need a rude Big Bang into rock, but he got that nerf off just in time. I don't think. Yeah, that's not going to do too much. Looks like he also changed up the wall down to Palom there, so kind of expecting edges to wear off, gets another one ready. Palom there so we can maintain.
Yeah, potential risk here is a black hole comes out and Palom nukes himself, but I think we have a tiny bit of time before that happens. But yeah, I think this nuke probably puts us near the end. I have to imagine the black hole does come out, but we're gonna get I think a Berserk cast right away, or we might get a wall cast coming back up. Might get Cure 4, kind of whatever Rex wants to do here.
Yeah, he's got Again, he's got this fight well in hand. Again, after that Big Bang, everybody's still 1,000 plus. So even if he comes close to, we got rocks. So yeah, he's pushing the edge there. So why don't you want to cast a white spell? That doesn't do anything bad, right?
Just weak someone on your party and then they die to the sap effect. But hey, there's a nuke from Palom, and that nuke text box has not left the screen yet. And that means
our crack boom.
That Z is dead and Rex is our winner this afternoon. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview. But that's an official time of 1:34:21 for Rex, who stays alive in the Waning bracket. GG's to Rexbanner. Very well run race, and I believe we are about to be joined by Rex, who has accepted the interview. And with that dinging in my ears, not only has he accepted that interview, but he's joined us for it. GG's, Rex.
Thank you, folks. GG's. How are you doing this afternoon?
I think we're doing well. I think you're doing better.
A little bit better now that it's over. I was a little worried there.
Definitely had some good long shot plays that looks like they paid out well for you.
Yeah, not gonna lie, the under 10 key item grind had me worried that I might have missed the Tella without checking the waterfall and missed out on a D machine grind.
I don't think we even noticed, or at least I certainly didn't notice that you didn't check Watery Pass. But for what you did check, you hit early pay dirt on that Twin Harp. We at least noticed that when you went down there, you had exactly edge. I think a level 11 Yang and an Anchor Rydia. You had an exit item that you had picked up. Was that like a gamble play on your part? Did you go there because you had the exit? Kind of, what was your thought on taking that fight? And then also, when the Baigen showed up and you realized, oh, hey, this is like super required with the pan that leads to darkness, ultimately, the Baigen there. Like, what was your thoughts with that Twin Heart play altogether?
Well, I like Edge getting all the turns, so I didn't want to have a lot of people on my team initially. I picked up that exit, so I had a quick way out if it turned into being pay dirt. With having the Earth Crystal already, it just makes sense to knock that check out at the same time, so I don't have to double dip. So I was set up for it, but I figured this was probably one of the best times just to run and do it and just get it out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, my next big question for you, knowing how you play and knowing how you like to do things, was kind of calling that I know without a pass you love to do the giant before going to the moon if you need like 2 or more bosses. You did exactly that this seed and it paid out for you. Is that something that you were always going to be doing in this seed, given that you had kind of pre-grinded, or were there ever thoughts for you of just going to the moon first?
I thought about going to the moon first, but without the pass, I don't like going to the moon. I like trying to clear up the Earth as much as I can. So if I do find my bosses, like say I get the boss like this on the giant and I get the one boss on the moon, I'm not double dipping. I'm not having to come back, run down the LST again. I can just continue on and go straight to Zemus without having to double dip.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I do have one other, question about the seed before we get into, forward-looking questions and future opponents and things like that. Why do you hate fun, and how come we didn't take Spoonward?
I thought about it at one point, but Spoonward just has such a low life pool. I had Heroine, Artemis Bow, I think Rosa at that point, so I'm like, well, we got a Rosa that's not going to be casting Blink and a lot of stuff. I'd rather her shoot things. I don't want her playing Nanny to Edward, so we'll just leave him there and we'll keep his nice little spoon as a dart.
Fair enough. Chuck, I've hogged the interview microphone. Any questions about the seed or anything going forward for Rex?
How did you feel seeing so many of those objectives on the overworld there? Again, there was quite a few. We had Odin at Hobbs. We had the Jura at Fabul. Lots of blue robes up at Ordeal, and then that Baigen at the Cave Magnet.
It
Feel anything
felt
kind of
good.
awkward going down underground with that?
It felt good to get, see all of them, like, okay. Then getting underground and seeing nothing and not having a lot of key items, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do any of these fights if there's nothing behind it. So was a little, everything on the overworld, great, get underground, and it's like, oh, I need key items, but I don't want to do any of these fights.
But you did find the Magus sisters behind that Luca key, so that was at least something there. Okay, it's not an entirely barren, but still not a fun fight with the magic power at that spot.
No, I was really happy I found that mute knife in the Fey March. That made that so much nicer. So much. That was the one thing I was looking for my edge, was that mute knife. That's why when I was looting the Fey March and I found it and I was just done. I got the one item I was hunting for.
Definitely good stuff. Like, it looks like you got the win under your belt on this one here, so how are you feeling for things moving forward here?
Good. I just take things as they come. I'm not someone that really scouts or pays attention too much to my opponent. I look forward to every race. I just do this for fun. It's something to keep my mind off of other stuff. I really enjoy the free enterprise community. I enjoy the game so much. I am so happy that I found this, stumbled upon it, and play it. And it's just a fun time doing these tournaments.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to to have you run races and put on a show, and put on a show you always do. I do have one last question about the seed for you, and chat kind of brought this up. When you realized that you had no Star Veils left after that Golbez fight, was there ever a thought that you were going to go back and save, or was that always going to be a swag wall?
Always. I was feeling behind. I had wall on Rosa. I know it doesn't last as long, so that's why you see me sort of rotating around and just keep casting it on people. So I can get around the no Star Veils. It is a pain. It does slow the fight down a little bit, but I think it's still in the end faster than running back and saving. And for the most part with these teams, I'm usually fairly confident going into my Z fight. Give me 2 mages, 2 berserkers, or like 3 mages. There's not much I really worry about. Like, you usually get a pretty good comp for the Z fights in these flags.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I got for questions for you, Rex. Chuck, you got anything else for our winner this afternoon, Rexbanner?
Nothing more than a hearty G, and looking forward to your future matches.
Alright, well thank you folks. I'd like to thank Possum and Chuck for the comms. I'm sure they're awesome. I'll be watching this back. Thank Dubward for pushing the buttons and feeding them, well, not trying to feed them to Possum. And Alchemy for the restream. And all of the folks here watching. And to my opponent, Dragus, it was a awesome race. It could have went either way. But thank you folks very much, and you folks have a good day and enjoy the rest of the races.
Thank you, Rex, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. GG's to you, and good luck in your future races.
Thank you. GG's again, and have fun, folks.
Hey, that was our winner, Rex. We do still have Dragus in taking care of this fight here. I think this is the second big bang here. Still keeping Eddie up and running with that spoon. Oh, spoke too soon. That's a little bit bigger big bang. I don't think he got the nerf on that second.
I mean, that is the life of the bard. He contributes until he can contribute no more. But we do see rocks coming out, so that tells us that we are in the last 12,000 health of the fight. A Cure 4 comes out on Rosa. And not only are we in the last 12,000, we're in the last 1,000, the last 0,000. Empress Z done. GG's to Dragus. Official time 1:43.48. Coming up second best today, but another great tournament run from Dragus, known for doing such, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview as well. And just like that, the dinging in our ears tells us that Dragus has also joined us. GG's Dragus on a race well run. First question from me. You held on to that Edward for an extended amount of time, as opposed to picking up, what most folks might consider a more impactful party member. Were you holding out hope for the spoon the entire time? Was that always the plan to go spoonward with this? Kind of take us through that.
Yeah, at some point it's like, you either gotta hold up for levels for gang or Rydia, or hope for spoon. And then even before the spoon, I got a lot of mileage out of him.
Yeah, I noticed that you had put, I think, a good bow and arrow on him at one point. The assassin knife went on him. A couple different times that you were kind of toggling things back and forth, making use of Edward. Even the hide command to kind of bring him in and out and make use of that utility command. So it was a job very well done. Kind of the second thing I wanted to ask you about was that sealed cave dive. You went down very early, fairly under-leveled, and ran into what is probably one of the worst bosses to find there, and scraped your way through that fight against the Magus Sisters in Sealed Cave. Were you just kind of feeling good about the party that you could get through just about anything at that point? Were you kind of a little bit worried there? Were you ever thinking of resetting the fight and trying it again? Like, kind of what was your mindset with that whole Luca Cave situation that ended up coming up?
think Hive actually just straight up saved me from that fight. It like Hidden Edward collected some of the reflects, and so once the first one went down, it got easier after that. Since I did have Quake online.
Yeah, you also found that mute knife in the Fey March there. So that was good helper through that fight.
Like mute knife, practically better than everything else I found in the treasury.
Yeah, you get a assassin knife, a full moon, a couple heroine robes, a whole ton of money, which was nice at least. But there was not a lot in the way of hidden sticks for Edge. Outside of, I think we saw ninja swords for sale that you opted. I don't believe opted to purchase. I think you already had like longsword, full moon, mute knife, etc. at that point. But there was not a lot of great stuff for Edge this seed.
I don't remember ninja swords. I remember ninja shurikens.
That might have been. That shop was a little quick for me. I didn't see that. I think I was in the.
Like a ninja sword probably would have been bought immediately.
Yeah, fair enough. It may have been ninja shurikens then, and just glossed over it incorrectly here. But as far as kind of the seed as a whole, your routing, you and Rex took pretty different paths throughout most of the seed. Like you had opted to fade Twin Heart pre-hook. He did it pre-hook. You opted to take Full Dwarf Castle, whereas he peaked the first boss, saw it was not required, reset out. Like those plays that you made, like to be thorough and to try to find everything. Was that part of like a peak for 10 key items that you were hoping to get pre-moon? Or was that just kind of how you play these seeds, is to go through and try to be as thorough as possible, as efficient as possible, and kind of find the bosses as you go?
Like, I know at the time I still didn't have the darkness crystal, and then I was still going to be looking for a Baron key.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, oh, this gate's 3 boss. It's like 3 bosses in a boss hunt.
Yeah. Well, that is going to mark the end of your run in this tournament, but another great run in a tournament. I know that every tournament, we end up seeing you making good runs. Do you have any, club season plans, or any, plans for the next tournament? Anything you're looking to do in particular in the off season? We can give you some support in whatever those endeavors might be.
Not sure yet. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Might try to at least keep up with 1 or 2 of the clubs.
Awesome. We always love to hear that. That's kind of all I got for you. Chuck, any other questions for Dragus this afternoon?
Seeing that Twin Heart Blade, again, that play you made, did you feel good seeing that it was actually a good play for you? Instead of just being another zonk there? Because I can't remember if that was like your last check that you had available, or if it like the next to last.
It's the last check of this. I haven't seen this boss yet.